After 7 months of contact napping, my baby girl is finally sleeping in her own bed by herself. Let's talk about how we got here. So, we initially started this transition because we noticed some certain cues that were happening with her that indicated to us that she actually was ready for it. Obviously, 7 months is a little later, I feel like, for sleep training. I mean, not that much. I see people that sleep train their baby at like 1 year, 2 year, 3 years, even, but there are a lot of people on here who sleep train their babies at like 8 weeks, 12 weeks. I knew from the beginning that I was not going to be one of those parents. It's no shame to people that do that, but I just am, I think, really empathetic and heightened and sensitive to the whole like healthy and secure attachment situation. And one of my biggest fears was sleep training her too early and putting her in a position where I was going to mess with her neurologically. So that just was never going to be a thing for me. But the last couple weeks, she started giving this weird cue. Her sleepy cues are always rubbing her eyes, nuzzling her head into her chest, but she started doing this thing where she would like push off of us and like bring her legs up and push off of us almost as if she wanted to lay flat. And she would do this before bed, and she would also do this before naps. And previously, the way that we would get her to sleep was like on our shoulder. Like she'd like to have her head up here. She never really liked to be cradled like a baby. She liked to have her head up here. And so I thought it was weird that all of a sudden she started doing that, because that was always her comfy position previously. So I don't know, just mommy senses tingling. I had this weird feeling that she was ready to be in her own bed and actually be comfortable. I got the vibe that she wasn't comfy, but this was all she knew. So she was trying to get comfy, if that makes sense. So that's the reason why I decided to kind of give her this extra support and make this jump with this transition in the first place. Now, what we did to get here, and I also want to say we also have recently actually sleep trained, like for nighttime sleep, even though she's always been a pretty good nighttime sleeper with maybe 1 or 2 weeks in the night. But yesterday she went down at 7:30 and woke up at 7:30. Okay, so like, yeah, it really worked. The methods we use for both are a little different. So, regarding the naps, I've had a very hard time following a schedule, and I don't know if any other contact napping moms are on this too. I feel like it might be a contact nap thing, but it's been very difficult to find slash follow an exact schedule. Like she had a rhythm and a flow, but in general, it still was kind of all over the place. It would depend on a lot of things. There would be flexing. I was stressing out a lot about whether or not she was okay, because we really struggled to have structure regarding naps. One day I was messing around on her hatch. So if you're unfamiliar, hatch is like a light that, well, okay, just go look it up, okay? But anyways, I was messing around on the hatch on the app, and in there it was like baby 6 to 12 months. Here, this doctor so and so, I don't even remember her name, recommended these tips and tricks. So I'm like scrolling through the tips and tricks because I'm like, okay, my baby's 7 months old, right? And then there also was a sample playlist of a nap schedule. So if you're unfamiliar with the playlist on Hatch, you can do a playlist of a day. So for example, let's say that I set up on my playlist that at 7 p.m. every single night it's bedtime. So that means the red light comes on and the brown noise comes on. I don't actually have to go into the app and press that every night. Automatically at 7 p.m. every night, that's what will happen, whether we're in the room or not. And so this woman, this doctor, had a whole sleep playlist based on like what she recommended. And I'm looking at the playlist. It's like, okay, a nap at 9:30, hour and a half, a nap at 2, hour and a half, bedtime at 7, which we were already doing, wake time at 7, which we're already doing. So I'm like, this looks good. Let's just try it. Just simply tried it, and I'm not even kidding you. My girl got into it like this. The first 2 days, it maybe took her like 20 to 30 minutes to go down. After that, 15. After that, 10. And now, I'm not even kidding you. We could be like coming from somewhere and barely making it home by 2. She's going to be asleep at 2. Like, it is like clockwork. I don't know what it is. Again, she's 7 months and she's doing the 2 naps. She was always struggling with the whole idea of a third nap. So I don't know if that's why this is working so well, but it's been like phenomenal. The part that I was really scared of was the transition of like obviously bringing her upstairs versus holding her, because before I feel like she was associating light with nap time, mommy's chest with nap time, maybe the TV's on, like there's stuff actually happening. I'm moving around because she's just laying on me while I'm doing whatever. So I just figured, okay, as I'm reading these tips on Hatch, by the way, the best thing that I can do is just try to mimic sleepy time, which she is only really registering with bedtime. So I bring her up to her nursery. She sleeps in her nursery in her own big girl bed, by the way. She has a floor bed. So the playlist starts, right? So the hatch comes on, then brown noise comes on, the light comes on, sleep sack. That's a huge thing. My daughter will not sleep at night without a sleep sack. So I'm like, okay, we're going to do the sleep sack for the bedtimes. We have what is it called, like the blackout curtains. I put those on, and typically I've been nursing to sleep. So for the first week I nursed her to sleep still, and I still laid with her during the whole entire nap. I didn't even try to escape. Okay, I was with her the whole time. Still so much better on my body though, because if you're a contact mom, then you know you're back. Like, what are we doing for that? So that's how I got to be able to at least lay down with her during naps and she would nurse. Now, the other thing, and this is what really pushed us to actually start sleep training this last weekend, was she started doing this thing where when she would nurse, she would pop off. So previously, when I would nurse her, she would like, I would have to unlatch or I would be laying with her for it could be hour, hour and a half, like just depending on the night, a long time because I would nurse her to sleep at night. I noticed she started popping off. So again, just like seizing the opportunity, I'm like, okay, she doesn't need me the whole time. This is good. And so anytime she would pop off, I would roll over. Sometimes I would just lay there for the whole nap because she would startle and wake up and I didn't want to have to deal with that. But more recently, I just started rolling up on out of there. Again, floor bed. So I literally mean physically rolling up out of the out of the room. Okay. And here I am now. That's why I have the mic because she's sleeping and I don't want to wake her up. Now, for the sleep training, which we only did this last weekend, so this is after a full about week and a half of following that nap schedule. Um, we did the pick up, put down method, which is basically the idea that you want to put your baby down awake. If they start crying, like they can fuss, but if they start crying, you pick them up, soothe them until they're done crying, and then you put them back down. And you literally do that pretty much until they stop fussing or they fall asleep. We started that on Friday night, last night, so Sunday night because it's Monday today. So it took 3 nights. She went to bed at 7:30 and woke up at 7:30. Okay. Now, mind you, she was a good sleeper before. Like she would only have maybe a few weeks to obviously outside of like regressions or teething. But again, so I knew that this wasn't going to be a huge thing. Also, I knew I did not want to do the cried out method. And this is not to say that she wasn't crying though. Like obviously we had to pick her up a few times, which meant she was crying. It still breaks my heart to like see her in distress. But with the pick up put down method, like my husband and I, like we could be in there with her still on the bed, like with our hand on her chest or like rubbing her back, shushing her, singing her. Like really, you can do any sort of soothing. The only thing is you can't literally pick them up. So I just kept telling myself, okay, like she isn't alone, and like telling her like you're not alone, like we're right here. You know what I mean? Like obviously she was happy, but it's not like she was like screaming her head off. It just was like more of a why are you doing this, like you know what I mean, that sort of thing. So this is all still very new, very fresh. I'll probably check back in a week, but as of now the update is here I am while she's napping. Again, it's not every single nap that I'm able to like squirt out of there, but I at least don't have to actually hold her, and I feel like those are huge steps. And then the bedtime, we'll go ahead and see, but it's been like increasingly getting better and better every single night. And last night, I mean, it couldn't have gone any better last night. So I'm assuming that as the days go on, the time for her to actually fall asleep will get shorter and shorter. For us doing the pick up, put down last night, it lasted about 10 minutes. So I feel like that's pretty short. Obviously, the point is to get to the point where you can just set your baby down and tell them you love them, good night, and then walk out the door and they won't fuss at all. So I'll let you know when we get there. But overall, I think it's going pretty good. If you're someone like me who is extra sensitive to like the whole crying it out and doing the sleep training too soon, just because I know that the sleep training community on here, like there's just so much. I see some people that are like, okay, I finally have to do it at 3 years old. There's some people that are doing it at 12 weeks old. Like it is just all over the place. But if you're someone like me who's extra sensitive to it, my advice would be maybe watch for some of those cues, because I do remember going into our 4 month pediatrician appointment and I brought up to her that my baby girl was contact napping, and I was like, you know, when do we need to stop this? I'm assuming this isn't good. And she just kind of looked at us like kind of says who, like she was not concerned at all. She was like, I wouldn't even address that if I were you, and kind of just implied that at some point in time usually babies figure it out. Again, this was also assuming that you're not co-sleeping. I don't co-sleep. That was just never my thing. No shame to people that do. It just gave me way too much anxiety. So my girl has always been sleeping in her own room, in her own bed. I mean, prior to her bassinet, but you know what I mean, like as an infant. And so she just kind of said that that's something that they usually figure out, which is crazy to me because I feel like there's so much pressure to sleep train. So I don't know. Again, it might just depend on the baby. I do think that sleep is like a temperament thing and all babies are different, but maybe it just might be a thing of waiting it out until you see the opportunity of like little breaks in their behaviors where they're like, okay, yeah, they actually are ready. That's what I feel like I did, is just I feel like she was already at the edge and we just offered her that extra support. So I don't know, I feel like this is a very low maintenance, very minimal stress way to break the contact naps and sleep train.